with a program record score and a win over Clemson. They're back in action today as we go inside the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse at the University of Pittsburgh. The Wolfpack of NC State takes on the Pitt Panthers in ACC gymnastics. Here are the current standings in the conference. NC State undefeated, therefore champions of the regular season among these four teams. Hi everybody, I'm Bart Connor along with my fellow Olympic medalist Kathy Johnson-Clark. And Kathy, I'm so happy to be working with you today on this meet because we don't get to see a lot of NC State and Pittsburgh. And as we've seen throughout the country, the quality of gymnastics is getting better and better everywhere we look. These two teams have something important to prove today, don't they?
Yes, and both these two teams are coming in with so much momentum. NC State is in the driver's seat, having just clinched that regular season team championship, and they're really looking toward trying to win their very first championship, which comes up. So what's most impressive about them right now is the confidence that they are competing with. That is what builds the consistency they will need to try to win that title. And Pitt is finally hitting its stride as well. The last three meets, they've hit that 196 score, which is a 9.8 average across all four events. If they can do that when the new rankings come out tomorrow, they may put themselves back in that regional qualifying conversation. And that is the big goal for all of these as we get closer to postseason.
We'll be introducing you to several athletes who don't necessarily get a lot of time on national television. There's a couple of Emilys to watch in this competition. Emily Shepard, the four-time ACC Gymnast of the Week, set a program record 39.75 in the all-around last week. She is a spectacular balanced gymnast. Now, Emily Todd is normally a big contributor to the Pitt Panthers. She's been ill this week, and so we expect that we'll only see her in one event, the uneven bars, but typically she's an all-around contributor. Here are the two head coaches for the respective programs. Kim Landrus, NC State's head coach. She's in her 7th season. And over on your right is Casey Jo McPherson in her first season. She's actually only been at Pitt for 9 months and already building something that she could be really proud of. And their team is on a roll with their momentum, as you mentioned, Kathy.
Casey Jo was the associate head coach over at Missouri in the SEC. And when this opportunity came up, she even talked with the head coach there, Shannon Welker, and they were both thrilled that she had this opportunity, and it's just a huge one to really build something very special in the ACC, particularly in this year when finally the ACC has women's gymnastics again after 40 years. So it's going to be really exciting for all of these athletes, this conference. And then, of course, next year, Cal comes into the ACC, Stanford comes into the ACC. We've got really good things to come.
Look at the first 4 meets. Pittsburgh was scoring around 193.9 as a team average. The last 3 meets, they've gone all the way up to averaging over 196, which is a 9.8 average. So this team impressive in the last few meets and trying to carry that momentum here today in front of the home crowd. To remind people, the meet format in a dual meet competition, each team puts up their best 6 gymnasts on each event. However, you only count the top 5 out of 6 scores towards their team totals in that event. Of course, the team with the highest cumulative score wins. The home team starts on the vault, and the visiting team will start on the uneven bars. Pitt has a lot to celebrate with this young team. They have a new facility coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we see in this show. Things are looking up for this program that's currently 49th in the country, but with a great coach like Casey Jo McPherson in place and great new facility coming online, great potential for this young team.
And Bart, those rankings are really misleading because they do have those low scores from earlier in the season. But this is an opportunity here, competing at home.
Kennedy Duke leading off on vault.
This is a Yurchenko full twist. Very well done. I like the balance of that vault. Good height and distance. You're going to see all the gymnasts of Pitt, except for one, do these Yurchenko vaults. That's the round-off entry vault. And a full twist is worth a 995 start value.
Kennedy Duke 4 times in the all-around this year for the Panthers, but she's been in every lineup on vault. Now we're going to go back and forth between these two events. NC State, you see the 6 athletes that have earned the right today to compete in their lineup. Kaylee Adamides will be first up.
You'll see some gymnasts mount their mount on the low bar, like Kaylee is. She'll open with a transition skill, a flight skill from the low bar to high bar. After this toe hand to a Maloney, right back down to the low bar with a pack salto. Little bit off on that handstand pirouette on the low bar.
Basically an uneven bar specialist for this team. 7 times in the lineup this year.
Like that dismount combination, the Stalder handstand into the tuck double back flyaway.
Araya Simons will be next up, the senior from Richmond Hill, Georgia. We have not yet seen the score posted for Kennedy Duke, who was the lead-off vaulter.
Round off onto the board, back handspring to the table, and there's that full twist. Another very clean vault. Of course, they're giving away just a little bit on those landings. A perfectly stuck landing is when the feet do not move. There are no extra steps. And the chest is nice and high on the landing. So look for those. That's what the judges are looking for.
You see the score on the right there for Pitt on vault. That 9.775 was the first score for their athlete Kennedy Duke to get them started. We go back now to the junior from Holly Springs, North Carolina, Peyton Childs.
Last week, after going 6 for 6 so far this season on this routine, she fell on her Jaeger, which is the release skill on the high bar early in the routine. She sets it up right here, hops her grip, goes to the front somersault. That's the Jaeger. Well done today. Here comes the dismount after the full pirouette, tuck double back, little hop forward, but a huge relief to put that missed routine behind you and move forward because she's very consistent.
7 times in the lineup this year, a season high of 9.85, but you're right, last week only an 8.75. As we go back to vault now, let's take a look at some of the things the judges will be focusing on in terms of their final score, Kathy.
The start value is based on the level of difficulty. All of the vaults we're seeing, these Yurchenko with fulls, are 995 start values. If they added a half twist to that, it would be a 10.0 start value. The execution, you look for the block off the table. You want the body to rise, go high and far from the table, and twist that landing. Oh, nice landing. Yes, the best part of that vault was the landing. She wasn't quite as high or laid out all the way to the finish like her teammates, but boy, did she get this landing.
Julie Madso, the freshman from Norway, one of 6 athletes on the team from foreign countries. She's very happy, I think, and fairly relieved that she stuck that landing, even though it wasn't necessarily her most explosive vault. Madeline Reed will be up now. First 2 scores for NC State on bars were Adamides 9.775 and Peyton Childs 9.7.
Opens with the toe hand to Maloney. Back salto. Little bit of form, and she almost touched the mat as she glided out on the low bar. If you hit the mat, it's at least 0.3 of a point deduction. think she avoided that. Here's the dismount. Oh, and very difficult. Full twisting double back. Very well done. Let's check right here after the pack salto. If you touch mat, oh, good for her. She kept those feet, did not touch. She unfortunately had to flex her feet a little bit, so she lost her toe point, but she did not touch the mat.
It's a good ab workout for anybody. All that pressure coming down from that release move and having to keep the feet off the mat. Well done. Shruti Anand now for Pitt.
So here's the vault that's different. A front pike with a half twist. Notice there was no round off into it. It's a traditional front entry vault, and she did it very, very well. That is a 10-0 start value. So watch, she faces forward, goes into the front handspring, front pike with a half twist, little hop on the landing. This is becoming more and more a popular vault for NCAA athletes to perform. They're having a lot of fun with this vault, actually.
Anand, a transfer from NC State. 6 times in the vault lineup this year. Very consistent there with a 9.825 last week. As we go back to bars and get set for Katie Harper after Maddie Reed had the high score so far, 9.85. Let's talk about what the judges will be looking for here, Kathy.
These handstands, nearly every skill begins and ends in a handstand. Has to be vertical, perfectly straight with the toes pointed up to the ceiling. These release skills, the transitions between the bars, that's a release skill. So they look for the level of difficulty, and of course, the difficulty on the dismount. This is an E-dismount. It's a double layout. Very well done. I like the technique throughout that routine. Really clean, nice straight body work.
Seeing some really solid gymnastics here from both of these teams in the first rotation.
That skill is called a ginger. It's a flyaway with a half twist, and then she regrasps the bar. That's a same bar release. And I like the way she does her double layout, or as they call it in Europe, a double straight, and hers was very straight.
Sierra Ward now, the senior from Prince Frederick, Maryland, 5th year senior, very dynamic athlete. She competes typically on vault and floor for this team. Season high on this event is a 9.875. She looks pretty relaxed as she's getting set to vault.
This is the calm before the storm, Bart. She will just speed down that run rate. As you said, she's very dynamic. So what she's trying to concentrate on is really her form, trying to keep those legs really straight. Sometimes the knees will get a little bit soft in flight. So as she's flying through the air, doing that layout with a full twist, look for the good form that she's working on.
On Wednesday, 8th-ranked Duke takes on Louisville at 7 Eastern. And then at 9 Eastern, we'll have the premiere of Coach K and Roy Williams' rivals reunited. A 1-hour special featuring the coaching legends sitting down together for an extensive conversation for the first time since their college coaching careers began over 40 years ago. I'm excited to see that. That should be fascinating. All right, here we go now. Sierra Ward coming after Shruti Anand had their high score 9.825.
Big vault. Look at the distance. That is the farthest we've seen any of these gymnasts land from the table. And where the judges sit is right here on the side. So you see them go back to the table. Notice her legs were a little bit bent coming back onto the table. Though that's the part of her vault that she's working on. But the dynamics of the vault were really good.
The parity in women's college gymnastics is so impressive because, as we said at the top of the show, we don't see a lot of NC State and Pitt, but I'm really impressed with what I'm seeing today. All these scores in the mid 9.8 range as we bring up Lex Ortega.
And you just got to see a really cool skill we rarely see in college gymnastics. It's called a Hindorf, up on the high bar. Nice job working hard for that final handstand. And the dismount, a gorgeous double layout. I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with their dismounts. They're high flying, very difficult, very well executed. Phil Ogletree is the coach there for them on the bars. This is the Hindorf. It comes out of a clear hip. She was a little bit close to the bar, so you'll notice her arms were a little bit bent when she caught. You want to be a little farther away from the bar.
All right, back to vault now. Jalea Bedminster. Her average, you see, is just over 9.8. She's tied for third in the ACC. She has scored as high as 9.95 on this vault, coming after Sierra Ward had a 9.75.
And Bart, she has stuck this vault 3 meets in a row. Let's see, will she make it 4? No, not this time. But you can see how exciting that vault is, especially if she finds the landing.
Bedminster, another senior, this one from Loganville, Georgia. She's a transfer from LIU, one of the new programs in women's collegiate gymnastics. There's over 80 solid programs in women's college gymnastics, and more young ladies are getting opportunities to participate at this level. It's so cool to see. All right, we talked about her at the top of the show, Emily Shepard, the #1 all-arounder in the conference. Here she comes after Ortega got a 9.875, their high score.
Look how clean her form is, how she keeps those legs straight, feet squeezed together, hits those handstands right in the vertical position. Gorgeous shape on that packed salto down to the low bar. And the details, the pointed toes. Nice big swing. Full twisting double back,
oh, yeah,
and drills it.
Wow. Last week she had a 9.975. You can see why with that execution.
This is the judges' view. They're not quite as high as our camera angle is there, but they're right on the side so they can see those perfect handstands. And of course, they're not going to miss that stuck landing.
Very impressed with both of these teams in the first rotation. NC State will have the lead, regardless of what the score is for Emily Shepard, based on the 5 scores that they already have counting. Emily Shepard is one of our stars, and last week she made history for NC State gymnastics with a huge all-around performance. More on her record-setting night when we come back. You're watching and welcome back with a 9.95 for Emily Shepard in that first rotation, a 49.3. NC State has the lead after the first of 4 rotations. The conference awarded its weekly honors, and all 3 of them went to NC State this week. Emily Shepard, the gymnast of the week, that all-around record. Chloe Negretti, the specialist of the week, and Ashley Knight, the newcomer of the week. Let's take a look at some of the highlights of Shepard's record-setting performance last week, Kathy.
We got to see her just now on the uneven bars. Well, she is equally impressive on every event. Clean execution, precise form, really a competitive spirit. She fights for every single landing and almost always gets it. And floor, she is so entertaining. Very exciting gymnast to watch in the ACC.
She is a spectacularly balanced athlete, and you can see why she is the #1 all-arounder in the conference, Emily Shepard. We'll see a lot of her tonight and, of course, in the postseason as well. Hi, everybody, I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. Now, Kathy, starting tomorrow, they rank the teams in the postseason based on what's called an NQS score. Here's how it's put together in terms of the NCAA qualification procedures.
Well, up to this point in the season, they have used all of the scores. You have to average every single team score. Starting tomorrow, NQS means they take the top 6 scores, only the top 6 scores. 3 of those scores must be from an away meet. They identify the high score and drop it, and then average the remaining 5.
So let's take a look at how it impacts these 2 teams today specifically. You see the top 6 scores for NC State on the left. That low score was highlighted, a 195.675. They have a chance to improve their rankings if they could raise that score. Pittsburgh on the right with a 193.7. will surely score better than that today at home and once again have a chance to raise their NQS, which is how they determine postseason rankings and qualification to the postseason tournament. All right, we come back with more great gymnastics today. Impressed with what we're seeing so far. NC State and Pittsburgh in ACC gymnastics. We move to the second of 4 rotations. In this case, NC State will be on the vault and the home team, Pitt, will move to the bars. Here are the 6 athletes out of their full lineup that get the honor to compete today. NC State, the top team in this conference. They haven't sponsored gymnastics in 40 years, but there's so much excitement about these young athletes, this new sponsored sport, the new television contract with ESPN and the ACC network. So a lot more of exposure for these fine athletes that we're seeing today.
And Bart Vault is a very good event for NC State. They're ranked 20th in the nation. So they want to take advantage. That was a huge Yurchenko full, both in height and distance. Yes, she didn't quite get the stick, but in terms of technique and amplitude, this was an impressive Yurchenko vault. So clean. Look how open her hips are in that layout position.
Maddie Hall only been in the lineup twice, the first and the last week so far. Season high of 9.8 there. To the bars now. Faith Lero will lead off for Pitt. As you see, the 6 athletes that will be competing towards their team total tonight.
And she was a last-minute add to this lineup. After the warm-ups, they made the change. So far, I like the way she is attacking this routine, really taking advantage of this opportunity to be in the lineup, hitting all the handstands. Nice blind change right on top of the bar into a double front. Little step back, but great job.
Looks like she was a little surprised at that landing.
We got to see Lexi Funk, who is coaching them on the uneven bars, where she was a great gymnast at Michigan and doing a terrific job here coaching these women.
Faith Lero, 6 times in the bar lineup. She's also a senior for Pitt. Here is Alexis Ortega. Maddie Hall with that huge Yurchenko to lead off. NC State at a 9.75.
And Lexi can really fly this vault as well. Look at the distance again. There is no way that these judges aren't impressed by the dynamics of these vaults so far by NC State. Really getting good block and tremendous distance and very, very clean execution in the air.
Next to compete for Panther Colorado, Araya Simons.
Araya Simons now. Coming after Alexis Ortega had a 9.775.
Watch this
Excuse
big
me,
same
Faith
bar
Lero, 9.8.
release at the front of the routine. Right here, it's called a ray.
Wow.
Nice vertical position on that handstand. Clean dismount and finds the landing.
Araya Simons, the transfer from Illinois. This is spectacular.
Absolutely. That is the distance you want to be from the bar. Notice how her arms were perfectly straight as she reached for the regrasp. Really well done.
Had an Achilles tear a year ago and now in the lineup on vault, bars, and beam for the Panthers. Krista Zoltevich, now the senior from Pennsylvania for NC State.
Really good speed down the runway, set up a nice Yurchenko full, and the best landing so far here on vault. I think I may have seen a little bit of knee bend going back to the table, just off, not as bad looking from the side. And again, that's the view the judges get. So they're going to love the landing on that vault.
Ziltevich hoping that they break into the 9-8. Probably they will with that vault, especially because of that landing. Raina Garvey now on bars for Pitt. They have so far a 9-8 for Lero and a 9-8-5 for Simons.
Huge straddle Jaeger, beautifully executed. Little short on that last handstand. That's a cool dismount. Toe on front pike, half twist. You usually see the flyaway dismounts, so it's always refreshing when you see something a little bit different. See, that was that short handstand, but check this out. Front pike, half twist. Fun.
Love those throwback dismounts, Kathy.
Yeah.
She's only been in the lineup one other time. Last week she had a 9-8-2-5. Good start so far for Pittsburgh on the bars. Ashley Knight, as we mentioned, newcomer of the week in the conference.
So interesting, we just saw that front pike half dismount off the bars. That's essentially what we're gonna see on the after flight of this vault. One other gymnast has performed it. So handspring, front pike, look at the height she went out of our frame. I love that vault. That was superb amplitude. When you can fly out of our frame, that's awesome. Check this out. The block was really nice. She completes the front pike and the half twist, and her head is still above the level of the table. That's amplitude, folks. Just a little scoot on the landing.
Amplitude, a unique term to gymnastics, meaning bigness. We've seen people like Haley Bryan at LSU do that vault, and that was almost as good as one of the best we've seen. Jordan Ewing now for Pitt, coming after Raina Garvey had a 9-7-7-5. So no one's broken into the 9-9s yet, but so far really solid hits for Pitt on bars.
Difficult release right here. A piked Jaeger. We've seen the straddle one. When you do it in piked, it elevates that to an E-level skill. Ooh, a little bit short on that bail handstand. You want to be in the vertical on the low bar as well. Giant full into a tuck double back. I'm glad she found that landing. I thought she might have taken it out just a little too far to stick, but nope, dropped it right in. So this is the piked Jaeger. Notice her legs stay together. She's got a little bit of form issues there that she can clean up. That's the really cool thing. These gymnasts can go back into the gym because these are the little half tenths they want to pick up. Tighten up the form just a little bit, and they can keep improving the score.
Back to vault now for NC State. Emily Shepard already has a 9-9-5 today in her all-around effort on the bars. She's coming after Ashley Knight had their high score over there. A 9-8-7-5 ties her career high.
Big Yurchenko vault, and so pretty in the air. From the time she leaves the board until she lands on the mat, her form is very, very good. Straight legs. She piked down just a little bit, and that caused her to have to hop back on the landing. You get a stick on that, that's a big score. Now remember, the max score for that vault is a 9.95.
Okay, here is Emily Todd from Bristol, England. We mentioned that she has been ill this week. Great to see her at least in one lineup. She's giving it a go on the bars after Jordan Ewing had another 9.85 for them.
She does a piked Jaeger as well. A little short on that handstand. Nice job hitting the vertical, just a little sway in her back, but really showing the amplitude and dynamics the judges want to see. Love the flat back in her handstands, nice technique. Oh, unfortunately when that mat bounced up a little bit, I think it caused her more of a step back than she otherwise would have taken.
Emily Todd from Bristol, England, competed in all around the last 4 meets for Pitt, just in the bars tonight. As we go back now to Chloe Negretti after Shepard had a 9.85 on vault.
Oh, nice job keeping those feet anchored to the mat. She had to move her arms a little bit to maintain her balance. So it's not a perfect landing. They will take that deduction for the arm swing. But she gave nothing away by moving her feet, so well done there.
7 times this year she's been in the lineup with the high score of 9.9. NC State having a solid competition, as well as Pittsburgh coming after Emily Todd at a 9.7, a little deduction for that steps on the landing, but here is Jalea Bedminster.
Cohan to Maloney right here, a little leg separation. Into the bail handstand, just a little crossing of the legs. Oh, and a really nice double leg. Oh, I didn't think she needed to take that step. It almost was an afterthought. She was just slightly forward and had to step. So watch, this is called a cast to handstand, and you want to be right in that vertical position. She did that nicely. And then the dismount, a double layout, really maintains that stretched position throughout. Couldn't quite hold on with the core and the quads to not step.
Well, Casey Jo McPherson is in her first season and Pitt's head coach with an entire female staff. When we come back, McPherson and Pitt gymnasts reflect on the impact she and her staff is having on this team. And welcome back to beautiful Pittsburgh. NC State, currently the ACC regular season champion, has the lead here by just under a half a point. Take a look at the Pitt coaching staff, all women, and in fact, Kathy Johnson-Clark, we have covered Casey Jo McPherson as an athlete, Amanda Wellick, Lexi Funk, and Alina Cartwright.
It's so exciting to see them now coaching young women to do exactly what they did and what they benefited from. So they have so much experience together, especially the athlete experience and the experience of being a woman in sports.
We spoke to some of the team members about the coaching staff and their impact on them so far.
I've never had an all-female staff before, and it's something that I didn't quite realize the impact to until we now have it. They each bring something really different to the team. They bring a lot of fun, a lot of energy.
I absolutely love the staff that I have here. We really work well together. I think we rely on each other and balance each other very well because everyone brings a different background and experience.
Casey Jo is probably one of the greatest people I've ever met. She's an incredible coach.
Casey Jo did a really good job on just connecting to us as individuals and just getting to know us, and I think that helped me in the gym and outside the gym, just being heard, being seen, and yeah, overall I just love what I do and I love the people around me.
So great to see the culture of gymnastics in the ACC growing, and of course Casey Jo McPherson has to be very excited because in her first season here she has got good momentum with her all-female coaching staff, and guess what? Expected opening in the 2025, it'll be the new Victory Heights Center, $250 million center that will be for training and competition in gymnastics, volleyball, and wrestling. So all of these teams, not only better athletes, more TV coverage, better facilities, all boats are rising in collegiate gymnastics, and it's very exciting to see. All right, when we come back, we'll move to the third and of 4 rotations. The home team, Pittsburgh, will be on the beam. They need to make up some ground. NC State will be on the floor. The ACC's Committee for Racial and Social Justice, in conjunction with its member institutions, have identified February 17th to 25th as ACC Unity Week. Here's the meet summary. NC State with a lead of just under a half a point as we go to the third of 4 rotations. Emily Shepard has the high score of the day so far for NC State. That was a 9.95 on bars. Pitt had 3 individual season high scores on bars as well. So Pitt comfortable at home today. And here are the 6 athletes that are getting final notes from Casey Jo McPherson, who has not only been an outstanding athlete, but terrific coach on beam for Arkansas and then Missouri and now here at Pitt, Kathy.
And I have to tell everyone, there are very few gymnasts who were ever as good as Casey Jo was on beam. Her beam work was uncanny. She could do any skill in the book.
They have struggled a bit with consistency this year, so they need a good rotation here. This is their lowest ranked of the 4 events. They've been carrying some strong momentum into these last 3 meets.
This is going to be the meet that it changes all of that. They've been building to this. Good fight. She lost her confidence midair, almost like an out-of-body experience, but then got it right back.
Julie Madso, the 2022 Norwegian all-around champion.
Just beautiful leg form, such straight legs in her work. You can see the nerves just a little bit creep up as she goes to finish a skill, doesn't quite finish it aggressively. Much better there at the end of that difficult ring jump. Dismount gainer full. Okay, a hit. Yes, there were a few balance deductions in that, but they start off with a hit.
Pitt has 6 athletes on their team from around the world. 3 athletes from Canada, 1 from Great Britain, and Medso from Norway. All of those athletes were committed to Pitt. And Casey Jo showed up, and she's thrilled with that international unity that they're providing and leadership in college gymnastics. As we go to floor now for NC State, Maddie Hall. 5 times this year she's been in the lineup on this event. This is one of her best.
And you're not hearing things at home. Every floor routine begins with a wolf howl. Opens with a very high tuck double back. That's a 1.5 twist. Every tumbling pass has to land with complete control, no movement of the feet. You're allowed that 1 step forward in the direction of your tumbling pass. Okay, a good, strong routine to begin with.
Go back to beam now for Pittsburgh. I mentioned that they have 6 athletes from around the world on this team. Kennedy Duke will be up next, and she is one of the athletes from Canada. 3 Canadians, Ewing, Duke, and Jacob. Julie Madso from Norway, and 2 athletes, Haley Copperwheat and Emily Todd from England. Seeing more and more athletes in collegiate competition that not only represent their colleges, but also represent their home countries in world and Olympic competition even. Here's Kennedy Duke. She's a sophomore from British Columbia.
For those of you new to gymnastics, I'll walk you through some of the requirements that the judges have to see on balance beam. You have to perform an acrobatic series. Those are 2 flight elements back to back. She does a back handspring layout, step out here to fulfill that. Very solid. They also
She's coming
have
after
to
Julie
perform
Madso, had a 9.6.
a full turn on 1 foot, which she does right here. And they also have to do a dance series or an acro dance series, which this would have been. She was supposed to connect the side aerial to a split jump, but here's her backup right here. There's the dance series. She connects those 2 leaps, no problem, and then adds a very difficult switch half to the beat jump. In addition to the special requirements, they earn bonus for doing the more difficult skills and connections to get that 10-0 start value. So another hit routine, just that 1 break in the middle after the side aerial.
Kathy, I'm curious how many athletes have that built-in safety valve in case they miss a connection?
Everyone, most everyone I should say, has a backup. And you have to think very quickly, but they train these. They train in the event they miss their series. They know what to come back with.
The judges judge you on what you competed, not necessarily on what was on the paper. As Ashley Knight, we saw her huge vault in the last rotation. She comes to the floor after Maddie Hall led off NC State with a 9.65.
When we talk about difficulty, the skills are rated from A to E, E being the most difficult, like that first pass. That's an E skill, front with a double twist. And they get bonus for performing D's and E skills above and beyond the requirements.
Seven times she's been in the lineup on floor, and her last week high score of the season for her, 9.9. Just a young freshman.
Her last pass is really pretty. She does a combination pass, a Rudy, the front with a 1.5 twist, and then rebounds out of it into a layout step out. Just such a graceful, elegant skill. Not difficult, but so beautiful in flight. So this is that front layout with 2 twists. As I mentioned, that's an E skill, so very difficult. And then the last pass, a 1.5 and a high, floaty, beautiful layout step out.
Second straight hit routine for NC State. Coaching staff thrilled with that as we go back to beam now for Pitt. Araya Simons after a 9.7 for Kennedy Duke, and Julie Madso led them off with a 9.6.
And Pitt really wants to keep this momentum going. They've got hit routines. They want to build confidence and trust among all their beam workers. Handspring layout, step out. Nope. If she had just pressed those arms straight down right as she landed, because it looked like she was straight on the beam, you just have to finish it. Unfortunately, a fall is 0.5 of a point off, and this is a good time to remind people that they can drop one low score. You only count your top 5 scores, but it puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the lineup. Oh, it's the kind of event that confidence breeds confidence, but nerves also breed more nerves. And it's just something you have to train yourself out of. So they're gonna need a reset after this routine, because of course that will be the low score that they want to drop.
Up until that point for Pitt, they've had a flawless meet.
Here's what I mean. When the chest comes up and the arms are over your head, you need to press them both out to the side, because it's in that movement that you can make the adjustment you need. And see how her feet were just moving around. You have to really land aggressively as if you're stilling the earth when you land on a beam.
Stilling the earth, I like that.
Yes.
If the earth were 4 inches wide.
Yes. I can tell you've never been on the beam, Bart.
Yeah, I'm staying off of it too. Krista Zoltevich coming after Ashley Knight's 9-8 in the second spot for the Wolfpack. They're in the lead by over a half a point.
Difficult combination here, back 2.5 to a punch front. Lost her toe point just a little bit at the height of those leaps. Very expressive in her dance. If she could carry that same expressiveness into those leaps, into the more difficult skills in the routine, it just makes for a more complete performance. Double back, good control. Notice how that front foot stayed down. Strong routine.
On Saturday on the ACC Network and the ESPN app, we'll have a lacrosse doubleheader that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. Number 8 North Carolina women host number 2 ranked Notre Dame. And it's a men's matchup between number 9 Johns Hopkins and 3rd ranked Virginia. All right, a very crucial moment now for Pittsburgh. The score is in for Araya Simons, just an 8-4-2-5. As Kathy mentioned, they have to hit 5 out of 6 routines because they get to drop one low score, and certainly they want to drop that 8-4-2-5, but everyone else in the lineup has to hit if Pittsburgh is going to keep this one close with NC State, who has a lead by over half a point.
First test right here.
Oh.
Again, not finishing the skill. Every skill, every combination has a setup, follow through, and finish. And you have to commit to all 3 before you ever begin. And she's not settling into the beam. Just you really have to push into the beam with your feet and use core strength and of course your arms, strong arms, to maintain your center of gravity right over the beam. Beautiful, well done, good for her. It's not easy to come back when you've had a fall. Nice attack for the final acro series and dismount. So some good things in that routine, things to take away. And then if she watches this again, she'll see. So here's the cat leap. Watch if she just brings the chest up as that leg comes down. Instead, she tried to get her second leg down first to feel secure, but you're not in a secure position. You gotta bring the chest up right as the second leg comes down.
We mentioned that Pitt is competing without Emily Todd. Kendall Foy, not normally in that spot in the lineup. Unlucky. Katja Edwards now coming after Zoltevich's 9-8-2-5. So NC State solid here on floor.
So look for the amplitude on these tumbling passes. Nice, high, good open tight position. And on the leaps. Judges want to see these go up and show the complete split in the air. Combination, front full to front layout. Beautiful laid out position. Last pass is a double back, this time in tuck position. Again, very high, very controlled. I just love the confidence that I am seeing with this NC State team, and that is something you earn. You have to earn that confidence, and that's what builds the consistency. And it's just this never-ending cycle. They're very well prepared. I love that Coach Kim Landris told us at the beginning of season they want to approach every meet, every day with a championship mentality because they want to check those boxes. They've won the regular season title. They want the conference title.
So the score came in for Kendall Foy, their second straight score in the eights. It's only an 8-9-5. So they're going to have to count the 8-9-5 likely in their final score, depending on Raina Garvey and Hallie Copperwheat, their final two competitors.
And they want to go big. These are the situations you have to take advantage of in terms of experience. You have to know what this feels like to be able to fight through nerves, pressure, all of the things that are a privilege in our sport and that we prepare for. Little hesitation
Garvey,
after
the
landing.
sophomore from Pittsburgh, aggressive in this routine.
Winner pike off the end, nice stick, and see how high her chest is on that landing. Well done. So off of 1 foot, off the end of the balance beam, beautiful pike position, really precise in her shaping, leg straight, and chest up landing. Well done.
Go back to floor. Katja Edwards had a 9.85. That's her third time she scored her season high in that event. Emily Shepard in the all-around today so far, a 9.85 on vault and 9.95 on bars. And this is another event where she really shines.
Even the way she stepped on the floor to present herself was special. Really gets your attention to show off beautiful gymnastics. Big double pike. A little bit crooked in that second leap. You want both legs equally high and parallel to the floor. Layout to front full. Close with the double back, this time in tuck position. Beautiful height, that was extraordinary. I mean, not only does it show the good technique, but the fitness, the conditioning that it takes to be that strong at the end of a floor routine. So good to see, really nicely executed, really showing off every little piece of her gymnastics. I love that she dances into her tumbling and then tumblings into her dance. Almost went out of my frame right here. That's exciting.
And her power is understated. It's incredible. Last tumbling pass for Shepard. Important routine here now for Hallie Copperwheat out of England. They have a 9-8 for Raina Garvey, who gutted through that last routine. Remember, they're going to have to count the 8.95, assuming Copperwheat is above that 8.45, which is a score they'd like to replace. That's highly likely.
Nice extension on those leaps, really showing off the full split. Side summy, good fight. Her center of gravity was a little bit back, but notice how she used her core and her arms to make the minor correction necessary. Handspring layout, step out, really straight with the beam, very lined up. Side area. Wonderful to see her come back so strong. It's not easy to go out when you've had falls before you in the lineup, but to anchor like this,
All right.
fantastic.
Oh, that's great. A great way to finish up, as you mentioned, after those two unfortunate falls. Last two competitors solid.
By extension, what I'm saying is she showed good amplitude, but mainly that full split in the air. You have to hit that 180 degrees, and the smile says it all right there.
Copperwheat, the junior from England.
Oh, I think they're hooked. They're stuck together, either earrings or hair, or hair clips. Well, goodness.
We'll get back to see if they got unhooked. But let's first go to Chloe Negretti, a really powerful tumbler coming after Shepard notched their high score, a 9.875.
And when I was talking to Coach Kim Landris on the coach's call, I talked about Chloe's gymnastics. She really makes you want to lean in to this performance. It's so unique and so intentional with the choreography. Nice double pike, big slide back on that. Full to front layout, right into the PK Arabesque. And ends with a flourish, a very dramatic performance. As I said, so intentional with her movement. Very serious.
Negretti, the graduate student from Frisco, Texas.
Watch the front foot as they go into the lunge. The lunge is allowed, and if they can keep that front foot planted, then it's no deduction. Oh, they got them separated.
Okay, and a relief for Pitt, not only with their last couple of routines on beat. Hallie Copperwheat got their high score in that anchor spot, 9.875. Now they are unhooked as we get set for the fourth and final rotation. Now we've talked a lot about the pressure of being a collegiate athlete. it can take its toll on anyone. When we come back, we'll hear from some ACC gymnasts on how they prioritize their mental health.
To take care of my mental health, I love to paint and I love to draw. And so sometimes if I feel myself getting anxious or feeling stressed, that's my way of releasing it. So I always make time to paint or draw throughout the week, or especially if it's a stressful week, then I make extra time for it.
Self-care is very important, so I love getting my hair done or just taking the time to walk my dog.
Something I do to take care of my mental health is honestly just communicate, because I feel like I tend to let it build up a lot, and I realized over time that I can't handle it all on my own, and it's okay to ask for help. So whether that be a coach or a parent or a friend, just letting them know how you're doing and being able to work through that together.
I go to the sports psychologist as often as I need to. I journal every day. I take time by myself. Mental health is something that I'm really passionate about, so making sure that I'm in the right headspace, because if I'm not in the best headspace, then I'm not going to be there for my team as much as I can be, so that's something that I definitely prioritize.
Have a great contest here today at Pitt. The athletes getting warmed up for the fourth and final rotation. It's great that we have an opportunity to talk a little bit about mental health awareness. Hi, everybody. Bart Connor, along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. And Kathy, you know, going back to Michael Phelps at the Olympics and Simone Biles, it just really has become more accepted for athletes from all sports to talk about their mental health.
Being able to have open and honest conversations about it and knowing it's okay to not be okay is great. And listening to these athletes talk about the things they do for self-care and for relaxing, that's all wonderful too, but it's not just up to the athletes to take care of themselves. It's all of our responsibility, from families to coaches to staff to teammates to fans, because now we've got the social media. We all have to be a part of changing that culture to make it, one, inclusive, but include and help everyone. Be open and honest about it.
Kathy Johnson-Clark, my longtime teammate and broadcast partner. I appreciate your perspective on that, Kathy. All right, so we're going to be back for the fourth and final rotation. NC State, as the reigning ACC regular season champion, has a significant lead, and they'll go to the beam in this rotation, and then Pittsburgh will be on the floor. And we'll have the ACC Championship on Saturday, March 23rd at 7 Eastern, right here on the ACC Network, featuring all four teams. These two plus North Carolina and Clemson in this exciting debut of the ACC back as a conference in gymnastics. All right, here are the meet summary points at this point in the competition. NC State had all scores over 9-8 or higher in that third rotation. As you can see in the bottom of your graphic there, they lead by just under 1.2 after Pitt unfortunately had to count a couple of low scores in that beam rotation. So NC State will have their turn now at the beam as Kim Landris gives a couple of final notes, and the home team Pitt will be on the floor. Meg Adler will get the leadoff spot for NC State on the beam. As I said, they have a lead, but Kathy, they're going to beam, and as we know, anything can happen when you go to the beam.
I was just grabbing my notes from what Kim Landris said, and she loves where her team is at right now. They are really showing tight-minded gymnastics, and that is exactly what you need on balance beam. You don't give yourself any options other than hitting every single element. This fight almost overcorrected when she lost her balance a little bit, but brought it right back on. Very, very tempting on beam sometimes to correct before you need to or overcorrect when you're slightly off. Beautiful extension on that switch side lead. This lead-off routine is so critical. Pittsburgh did a great job with their leadoff routine. So has NC State. Now they need to keep that momentum going. That's what the leadoff's job is supposed to be, to set the tone.
Meg Adler, the sophomore from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Congratulations from Phil Ogletree, the assistant coaches. Phil has coached throughout the SEC. We've watched his career for many years. Sierra Ward will be up on floor for Pitt in that leadoff spot. Let's point out some of the things the judges will be looking for here, Kathy.
The level of difficulty of both the tumbling and dance skills. You want to see as many of those D and E skills as possible. Look for the artistry, the landings, of course, on every single tumbling pass and on the leaps.
Last week, Ward had her season high, 9.85 here. Remember, they're trailing, so we'll hope to pick up some ground in this event.
Front full to front layout. Love the amplitude on that first skill, especially. Very dynamic. Close attention to the landing. To Rudy, notice how she slid back and that front foot slid back into the lunge. So slight deductions there. Nice amplitude on her leaps and in her tumbling. Not a high level of difficulty, but enough for her start value to begin at a 10-0. And then just little foot forms throughout that they'll deduct for, but really nice start for Pittsburgh.
Sierra Ward, a fifth-year senior there, quite a strong vocal leader for the team. Does her job in that leadoff spot. Here's Macy Jennings, the junior. She has a season high of a 9.9 on this event, but last week only a 9.0. So Meg Adler led them off with a 9.775. If NC State hopes to hold on to the lead, they need to be solid here.
Gets her full turn out of the way, and it sets up a triple series. Very difficult pass. This is what she fell on last week. And watching from this angle, you want to see her keep her hips and shoulders in line, and then strong arms on this layout. Step up, bring them straight. Nope, completely off in the air. Not that it's impossible to make those corrections even mid-air.
Again, a fall is 0.5 of a point. They were leading by just a little over 1 point. So NC State putting themselves in a precarious position if these nerves become contagious, as Pittsburgh's off to a good start on the floor.
Attack this landing right here, arms up. There you go. See how the arms went out to the side and pressed down into the beam. Dinner full off the side. Okay, good recovery, but on that triple series, you really have to remember I said the setup, follow through, and finish. She was leaning slightly to her left as she went into that layout step out, and then it's that type of error is very hard to correct mid-flight.
Kennedy Duke now, coming after Sierra Ward, led off Pitt with a 9.825. Great opportunity for the home team here to tighten the standings here.
With the tuck double back. And she does a difficult leap series coming up, I believe, right here. It's a switch leap to a ring position, head goes back, and then a split full. Meaning you get a full rotation in the air while the legs are switch split. This pass combines back and front tumbling, a back 1.5 twist to a front layout. It's a rebounding pass. Okay, another good, solid routine for Pitt.
We go back to the beam for NC State. The score came in for Macy Jennings, only a 9-0. So a little extra pressure on the rest of the lineup here. So NC State does not squander that lead. Katie Harper will be up as Kathy. Let's point out some of the things that judges will look for in this event.
Balance beam consists of both dance and acro skills. They look for the level of difficulty in both of those and the execution. Then connections, you can earn bonus by connecting difficult dance or acrobatic skills. This is a dance series with 2 leaps connected. And then of course, balance from start to finish. Lines this up nicely. Handspring layout step, but notice how her core, her center of gravity stayed right over the center of the beam, and then arms go out and press down into the beam when you land. It's a nice look to see her as she spots the end of the beam, too. When you turn to the side and can't see it any longer, you take a look at the end of the beam. Always stay focused on that. Front toss, very solid. Her confidence just built throughout this routine. Nice reset, little scoot on the landing, but it's exactly what they needed. It was not just a hit routine, but a confidently hit routine.
Katie Harper, the freshman. Coach Landress said she's very impressed with her leadership skills, even though she's just a freshman. Harper from Columbus, Ohio. Haley Larson up now for Pittsburgh. First 2 scores for Pitt on floor are both 9.825s for Ward and Duke.
A little under rotated. Notice how her chest was forward and she had to step forward. Nice position in that straddle. Fun choreography there at the end. I like the little front head spring. So when a pass is under-rotated, meaning not quite enough rotation to land with the chest up nice and high, it forces them to land with their chest low and to have to step forward. Those little deductions add up.
Larson 5 times in the lineup. Her scores have ranged from 9.325 all the way up to 9.9. Lexi Ortega now, 9.875, a big score after Macy Jennings had only a 9.0, so NC State trying to get back on track here.
And this is a big routine. She does a fabulous combination coming up right here. Back handspring to what's called an anodi. It's a half turn into a front walkover. So difficult. Had a balance break after, but I love seeing that combination. There's really not quite enough reward given to those who take risk like that.
Kathy, you know, we talked about the NQS taking part in place next week. Interestingly enough, that if NC State can hit these final 3 beam routines, they would get their highest road score of the year here today at Pitt. Great opportunity for them to improve their national rankings.
Oh, they will jump in the rankings. Nice combination to the dismount, a switch leap into the pike gainer off the end. That's a refreshing beam routine with a front handspring, and of course this combination, back handspring, half turn into the front walkover. It's called an anodi after Henrietta Anodi, a Hungarian gymnast, even though we saw Oksana Omelianchek do it before even Anodi says she did it before she did it. But everybody knows it as an anodi.
Don't get us started on how they name gymnastic skills, because there's a lot of contention whether skills are actually named after the true first person who did it. As we go to Hallie Copperwheat now. Kaylee Larson had a 9.775, as you see there. So Pitt doing well and doing what they need to keep this as close as possible, while NC State could be on track for their best road score of the year.
Difficult combination, front, through to a pike double back. Nice attention to detail, keeps those toes pointed throughout the floor work. Precision on those jumps. The judges watch where their feet are pointed when they take off to make sure they land and show the full rotation. Hey, this pass coming up, she over-rotated and sat it down last week. She wants to land perfectly vertical, hold on to the stick, there it is. You could see the emphasis with those arms going down. Not gonna make that mistake again, well done.
All right, 5 times she's been in the lineup, scored as high as 9.825, but a couple of misses with inconsistencies this year, but a great effort for the junior Copperwheat there.
Yeah, love to see these improvements, and nice performance too. Kept that quality of the expressive performance throughout, and that definitive arms down, say, yep, on my feet.
Emily Shepard having a solid all-around night, scores between 9.85 and 9.95. She's coming after Alexis Ortega, had a solid 9.8. So once again, NC State with 2 more hit routines could have their high road score of the year in this, which is likely going to be a win over the Pitt Panthers here at home.
And as you watch this lovely presentation of a beam routine. So much composure. Kim Landers told me she is just pure example of hard work pays off. When you're so intentional in your training for the big things, the conditioning, working on your technique, perfecting the form. Very solid. That's how you develop the confidence to perform at this level. Side aerial, really nice, strong arms. And you could see that, oh, lost their balance just a little bit. She stays relaxed in her face, smiles throughout the routine. You want this calm, relaxed, aggressive. Sets up the dismount, side aerial to 1.5 twist. Nice difficulty there on the dismount.
A quick reminder of the scores that each of these teams are trying to beat as starting tomorrow they calculate their postseason standings based on the NQS, the national qualifying score. NC State, the score they want to beat is a 195.675, which they should do easily. And Pittsburgh, a 193.7, also an opportunity for both of these teams to raise their NQS, their national rankings. As we go to Jalea Bedminster. Copperwheat before her, a 9.875.
Nice lift off the floor. She ends this leap series on her stomach. That's called a Shushanova. And it doesn't hurt.
Especially on these spring-loaded floors anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't try it out in your backyard. Combination back 1.5, front layout. Nice form. Love that she kept those legs glued together. Now that's a strong routine from start to finish. Great job.
Twice this year, she's already scored 9 nines. Having a great time.
Oh, so nice seeing them have so much fun, because you know how much hard work goes into being able to do this gymnastics and do it every single weekend. And keep in mind, these gymnasts probably started the sport when they were, what, 3, 4, 5 years of age? Been doing it a long time.
Great to see they're finally getting the attention they deserve as well. As the anchor competitor for NC State on beam comes up, Chloe Negretti. The score for Shepherd is in. It's a 9.825. NC State, an opportunity here for their highest road score of the season. If Negretti can finish it out strong here.
Very smooth, connecting that front aerial to the back handspring. That's her acro series. Chloe's ranked 2nd in the ACC on this event. Halfway to a switch side, right into a beat jump. She connected 3 dance skills. And just like on floor, she's very, very intentional with her movement. Not only is that part of her style, but it really works toward her consistency. Nice job. keeping that landing out of a double twist. Not an easy dismount to stick. I'm waiting for a smile to break out, though. She's
well,
so
it's important
serious.
they're going to replay that replace that 9-0 for Macy Jennings, which will be easily done here by Negretti. So a way for them to finish out with probably their strongest road score of the season. And a win likely for NC State, as Jordan Ewing will wrap it up for the home team, the Pitt Panthers, after Jalea Bedminster had their high score on floor, a 9-9.
Front layout, good control. This extension of amplitude on the leaves. Great landing. Wow, that was so good, so engaging. The performance quality and the way that she relates to the music, to the movement, really tells a story throughout from start to finish. I love how she expresses herself, how she performs this choreography and really brings you into it.
Yeah, all right, well, we'll get her final score here in a minute. A great day of gymnastics here at Pitt. Here's a program on the rise with Casey Jo McPherson in that leadership spot, her first year in a new facility coming on in 2025. And Kim Landers happy with her team's effort, as both of these teams will improve their national qualifying score, which will determine post-season opportunities. So both teams improving on the scores they need to get to that NCAA championship tournament. And the score's in for Jordan Ewing. It's a strong 9.875, the best effort for Pittsburgh there on the floor. Well, it was a great day of gymnastics. We're glad you joined us here on the ACC Network. For Kathy Johnson-Clark and our entire crew, I'm Bart Connor. Let's send you out now to Angel Gray and Jasmine Thomas. They have NC State versus Duke in an ACC women's basketball matchup.